In the next few moments, you are going to hear something that may completely change the way you think about sleep and your heart. Because most people don't realize this, but a simple habit done right before bed is silently increasing the risk of a heart attack or stroke while you sleep. And the most terrifying part? It often shows no warning until it is too late. In fact, studies estimate that nearly 1 in 4 sudden cardiac deaths happen during sleep or in the early morning hours. That means thousands of people go to bed thinking they will wake up, but never do. And tonight, you'll discover the critical warning signs most seniors completely ignore. Signs that look harmless on the surface, but inside the body, something far more dangerous is happening. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal could literally change what happens in your next night of sleep. My name is Dr. Jake Miller, and in over 20 years of working with heart and stroke patients, I can tell you this truth nobody tells you clearly enough. Most sleep-related heart emergencies are not random. They are triggered by patterns people repeat every single night without realizing the danger. And this is something most seniors will never hear from their own doctor in this level of detail. What I'm sharing with you is what we see in emergency rooms after it's already too late. Now let's talk about what's really happening inside your body when this silent danger begins at night. Most people go to bed in a position they find comfortable. That assumption is exactly what costs people their lives. Here's what's actually happening inside your body while you sleep in the wrong position or with hidden breathing strain. When your airway becomes partially blocked during sleep, oxygen levels drop silently. Your brain senses danger and forces your heart to work harder. Your blood pressure spikes suddenly, over and over again throughout the night. Your heart is not resting, it is fighting to survive. And here's the critical detail that separates this from simple tiredness or normal snoring. Oxygen drops repeatedly without waking you fully. Blood pressure surges happen in bursts, not steadily. Your heart rhythm becomes irregular under stress. Blood vessels become strained and inflamed overnight. This is not just bad sleep. This is cardiovascular stress happening silently for hours. And here's where it becomes life-threatening. If you wake up feeling tired, even after a full night of sleep, that is not normal aging. That is your body showing you it never recovered from overnight strain. That's not fatigue. That's internal stress on your heart and brain. If this is happening regularly, that is not just snoring. That is a conversation you need to have with your doctor this week, not next month, this week. Now you understand the first hidden danger. But the next one is even more dangerous, because people actively do it thinking it helps them sleep better. Most people take sleep medications or natural sedatives at night. That assumption is exactly what puts their heart under silent pressure. Here's what's actually happening inside your body. These substances relax your brain too much, but they also relax your airway muscles. When that happens, breathing becomes shallow without you realizing it. Oxygen drops further. Carbon dioxide builds up. Your heart is forced to compensate harder than ever. Here's the critical detail doctors separate from harmless sleep aid use. Natural sleep cycles are disrupted completely. Breathing reflexes become slower and weaker. Heart rate variability becomes unstable. Risk of nighttime oxygen deprivation increases significantly. And here's the dangerous part no one talks about. If you are older, even mild sedation can double the strain on your breathing system. Your body is already less flexible with age. Add sedation, and the system becomes fragile. If someone is relying on sleep medication every night and waking up groggy, confused, or with a dry mouth and headache, that is not normal side effects. That is a warning sign. And if that sounds familiar, that's not just poor sleep quality. That is a conversation you need to have with your doctor this week. Not next month, this week. Now, before we go further, I need you to understand one thing. Stay with me through all of these warning signs, especially the next one. That one has never once been on most public health lists, yet it is one of the most dangerous. Now hit subscribe if you haven't already, because what I'm about to explain next has quietly contributed to thousands of sudden nighttime cardiac events. Most people sleep in warm, poorly ventilated rooms. That assumption is exactly what creates hidden oxygen stress during the night. Here's what's actually happening. When the room is too warm or air circulation is poor, your body struggles to regulate temperature. your heart has to work harder to cool the body while also maintaining circulation. Combined with reduced oxygen intake, this creates a hidden strain cycle. Here's the critical breakdown. Oxygen levels in the room slowly decrease overnight. Carbon dioxide levels increase in closed spaces. Heart rate increases to compensate for stress. Blood pressure becomes unstable during deep sleep. And here's the part most people miss completely. This doesn't feel dangerous. You don't wake up gasping every time. Instead, it builds silently night after night. That is why this is so dangerous. If you consistently wake up sweating, with a racing heart, or feeling like you didn't rest, that is not just a warm room. That is your cardiovascular system under nighttime pressure. And if that is happening regularly, that is not something to ignore. That is a conversation you need to have with your doctor this week, not next month, this week. Now we move to something even more alarming. This next factor is one of the most ignored contributors to nighttime heart stress, and most people do it every single day without thinking twice. Dehydration before sleep. Most people assume hydration matters during the day only. That assumption is dangerously wrong. Here's what's actually happening inside your body. When you go to sleep dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker. Your heart must pump harder to circulate it. At night, when your body is supposed to rest, your cardiovascular system is under increased load. Here's the critical detail. Blood viscosity increases during dehydration. Heart workload increases significantly. Blood pressure fluctuations become more extreme. Risk of clot formation rises during low movement sleep. This is where strokes and heart attacks become more likely. And here's the dangerous misunderstanding. People think waking up thirsty is harmless. But if your body is consistently dehydrated at night, your heart is working overtime while you are unconscious. If you are regularly waking up with dry mouth, dizziness, or morning headaches, that is not normal aging. That is your body signaling nighttime strain. And if that is happening, that is not something to monitor casually. That is a conversation you need to have with your doctor this week, not next month, this week. Now I want you to understand something very clearly. While you were treating this as normal sleep discomfort, your cardiovascular system was fighting silent battles every single night. And that difference is what separates healthy aging from sudden emergency events. Right now, as you watch this, there are people sleeping in exactly these conditions, completely unaware that their heart is under stress. And that is why this matters so much. Before you close this video, I need 60 more seconds of your attention. Because here is the reality. Every one of these factors alone increases strain. But when combined, poor breathing patterns, sedatives, poor room conditions, and dehydration, the risk multiplies. Not gradually, rapidly. Now here is what you need to do immediately. Write down every symptom you recognize from your own nights. Morning fatigue, dry mouth, headaches, poor sleep despite long hours, or waking with a racing heart. Then call your doctor and read that list out loud. Do not minimize it. Do not wait for it to get worse. And ask specifically about sleep-related oxygen monitoring or cardiovascular screening during sleep. You are not being difficult. You are being the only person in that room fighting for your life. Because early detection can mean the difference between prevention and a nighttime emergency that you never saw coming. If you found even one warning sign familiar, take it seriously today, not later. Make sure to like this video so others can see it. Subscribe for more life-saving health insights, and share it with someone who might be ignoring these signs. And remember, there is something I didn't tell you yet about the combination of just 3 of these habits together, and what it does to the heart within weeks.